Welcome to my brand new series, Marketing Audit, where I help small business owners in my local area get better at marketing through a long session of marketing strategy and consulting. On this episode, we help a small business owner in the food industry who runs a snack company called Yoga Pops. In this episode, we talk about when she should rebrand, if she should rebrand. We talk about being comfortable on camera, as well as how to document and share content on social media for your brand. So I hope that you guys like this episode. I hope to make more soon. And if you want to learn more about how you can work with me, watch till the end. I'll have some information. And this is also available in audio form on the podcast, The Optimization Toolbox. Thanks for watching, and I hope you get some helpful tips throughout this episode.
Hello, I'm Nalini. I'm an Ayurvedic chef. My work is around wellness through food. And the way I talk about this is Ayurveda. Some of you may be familiar with Aveda. So it's really an abridged name for Ayurveda, which is life and the knowledge of life. So it's a huge, just a Bible, if you can call it that, of information on how you connect with nature and yourself and the people around you. So it's really a very comprehensive, I mean, you can use the word holistic, but even today, it was found 5,000 years ago, and even today, the relevance of how you can apply it on a daily basis is amazing. So we created a snack because we would offer this in our Ayurvedic pop-up dinners. And it's really just a seed that's been popped into this amazing crunchy bar snack is how it was formed. And people were like, can we take this with us? And that's when I realized, oh, my hope was to start a restaurant. But the kitchen culture has long ways to go. I mean, if we can care about all the organic ingredients that go into our food, but if the person making it is feeling challenged, then I do not, that's part of what Ayurveda says. Don't cook when you're angry, don't cook when you're not well. So how do you bring that aspect of a kitchen culture that's really needing help to go to a place where kitchen culture matters? People in the kitchen matter. And that's really what we're addressing through our, at that time it was more for the pop-up dinners. Now through this snack, we're really working with that aspect of wellness, where energy of what you put into the food is what you get out of it. So this is just a simple, fun, delicious, crunchy snack. That's just a seed, and all the ingredients which we put in there are medicinal. We don't need, we can't claim it on a package, but when people get back to us saying, this really helped me feel balanced and whole, that makes us feel this is the journey we are taking.
That's awesome. And so you're in a bunch of stores right now, right?
Yeah, we are in the Midwest, starting with Meyer, which is in Michigan, in 260 stores, and here in Minneapolis, in Kowalski's, at the Wedge. Just, it's been a fun journey, and we're also in California at Erewhon. So yeah, it's really word of mouth so far. And so this is where we have to shift it.
Move beyond. So, okay, so I think what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the things that you need help with the most. And then I'll move into maybe a little bit of a strategy, and then I'll go into tactics. So like specifically, good. So what are the biggest things that you struggle with when it comes to marketing?
Well, starting with the SEO thing and the keywords and I think which relates to everything on marketing at this point when it comes to digital. I'm challenged by, I mean, it seems straightforward. I've even understood what negative keywords are and you know, I get
Are you tracking your analytics? Like how
that's what I can't do, or I haven't been able to do. I think that's huge.
So I guess my question is where do you get most of your sales from?
So it's, like I said, word of mouth, which means they come straight to my website. Often they've tried it in the store and then they've realized, oh, we have more than the 3 flavors that are in the store. And so they'll reach out to us through our website. But again, even within the website, I've not optimized the website. Route to India is the website.
That's what I was going to ask you about. And that's, maybe we can talk about that a little bit later. It's just some of the branding, which I think there's a little bit of things I would change. Of course, but I think one of the things to think about is, and this is a tip to everyone listening, is SEO is only valuable if people are searching for something, right? So if the only way that they're currently finding you is word of mouth, it might not be of your best interest to spend so much time trying to build it when they don't know that it exists. Because SEO is when people are searching for something that they are looking for, but they might not know that this exists, so they might not be looking for it.
Exactly. And also because it's such a unique snack, like who knows what water lily seeds are?
So I think that you're better off doing more marketing where it's introducing it to people via ads, via video we talked about, versus having it be keyword centric, because people aren't going to be looking for it. So I think that the focus should be more on social and less on your website.
Okay.
Because I think your website's beautiful, first of all. I think it needs to be focused on like finding the right people to expand it, because people don't usually buy it. Do they buy it directly from your website, or do they buy it from the stores?
They'll do both. I think more from the stores, because we're in prominent stores, so people see it, and then they'll scan the QR code at the back and say, okay, we can get more flavors. But to your point, I mean, everything's branding and marketing is such a beautiful journey.
Yeah, it is.
So this is our second iteration, and now we're going through branding with the help of Target.
Cool.
We're doing a pro bono program for packaging.
Okay.
And we will probably get rid of my favorite word, which is yoga pops, because it's so fun.
Well, I was going to ask you, I guess we can skip to that, because I feel like I was going to ask you, because one of the things that it is a kind of an interesting name, because it is something that I wouldn't know what it is right away. So it
doesn't tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Is it a yogi something,
well,
or is
at
it
least
a
on Instagram,
yogurt or popsicle? So that was one.
So, yeah.
But to your point, I think the one thing that we've realized is, even though we don't necessarily want to be on Amazon, but I think we are on Amazon only as a variant of we have a variety pack where you can try all our flavors. So that was our hope, is that we really push that marketing aspect, even though we don't want to make any money.
Okay.
It's more for let people try.
That is one thing that you would want to have SEO work is. It's maybe not the website, but on Amazon is much higher. And I think also doing maybe even ads. So someone searches snack on Amazon, yours could be an ad that pops up, or even on Google ads. If someone's Googling like healthy snacks, you could be an ad that pops up. There's so many different ways that you can do marketing. It really just depends on the type of business you have, your goals. Like if you want to do more connections and getting in more grocery stores, that's a different marketing route than going e-commerce, right? Then there's a difference between selling on your website or expanding, maybe you launch an influencer program where you have affiliate marketing people.
I think all of it. That's the challenge for somebody like me. When you're trying to do everything yourself.
You don't have to do everything.
You cannot.
But I think we have to figure out which ones.
For example, we talk about video. Now, Meyer, which, as I mentioned, is a huge supporter for the past 2 years, the way they've supported us during the Pride, making us a feature during the Pride month, through the year. But we want to be a supporter, and so we are doing, we want to do promotions with them, so that it's not just, they're buying it, but it's moving out of their store. So that piece of it, I was so keen, let's do a video promotion. Because in digital, you can get lost, especially if you're in a store. There's so many ads, so if Coke or Pepsi or any other snack is putting a big ad, you're just lost in the number of ads and who gets more prominence. So how do we even use? Can we even budget for it? Given that we're a small business, and even with their support, what does it take?
So I think, there's so much to this, because there are a bunch of different ways that you can go about this. I think personally, because you're a small business, you can create your own video content right now until you have the money to be able to make actual ads and actually spend money. So for you, you're the full marketing team pretty much? Is it just you?
As of today.
Okay.
But I think, like I said, 2024, we do need somebody, even if it's a fractional marketing head.
Yeah, so because one thing that I would recommend, I was looking at your Instagram, and maybe that we can move into the audit part and just look at it. One thing, again, and I don't think the name is like a bad name, but I do think that one thing I would add is the word snacks at the end. So instead of being yoga_pops, I would be yoga pops snacks.
Yeah.
Or
that
snack.
makes a lot of sense. So simple.
And then and then I would also change your website domain to yogapopsnack.com. That way, right now it's Route to India, which I'm like, that confuses me as a buyer.
Absolutely.
Why is it that? Because I think that was the cooking classes, right? Was Route to India?
Yes, we founded it 20 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
I've been teaching Ayurveda as primarily for cooking classes because I wanted to really bring this, how yoga in the early 2000s, how it took off. Ayurveda is there now. And I've done this for 20 years, so I know the miracles that it brings in our lives just through food as medicine, but that food doesn't need to taste like medicine. So that holistic aspect. And I still feel, like I was sharing with you with this whole Target program, I realized that, it's one thing that I like, that, because whenever people say, so what is Ayurveda? And I would say, well, it's like the yoga of food. Imagine how you feel on the mat and that balance that you feel after a session of yoga. That's what you're going to feel when you eat this food. So that's how the word yoga pops came, because the idea was, okay, we don't want to have just one product. We'll do yoga pops, we'll do yoga crunch, yoga bar, have a whole something around
so
that.
Maybe you could call it yoga snack, because then that's the main brand, and then there's like yoga products underneath it. Right.
That was the idea. But again, with Target, there's they're like, how many people do you think know even kombucha? And they said, our customers, only 20% even know what kombucha is. So do you really want to stick with a name that has little comprehension? Or do you want to... So they actually... I was like, Route to India is a very complicated story. I used to work for Target, and we used to travel to Asia on these 2-week trips. And on route to India, which was the last stop, people were like, we've got the best treatments, whether it was Hong Kong, Singapore. But by the time we came to India, at the end of the trip, people were like, can we just go back home? And I was, it would hurt me, because here's my culture. It's more than just mosquitoes and, little limited understanding of what the culture is about than what meets you in a 5-star hotel. Let's experience along the journey what my country is about.
So I think that kind of answers some of the questions of what content you should be making. I think you need to be talking about your culture and the educating people.
Exactly.
And I think that is like almost every other post. It could be education and then promotion. So a mix. Because what are you doing now for your social? Like do you have like a content plan or?
Yeah, no, I can't do it myself. So again, I need somebody, and I've had somebody, again, once in a while we've had a freelancer. So the story sits on my post, but it's kind of lost because, I don't say it often enough. And it's such an important story, because we started this 20 years ago, not today. It's not just a one-trick pony product that we have out in the market just now. It's got a whole story around it. And I think that resonated even with Target. And they said, call it Route to India. Just keep it simple. Just tell your story in social. That's exactly what they said. But you will also get more real estate on your packaging, and, just the hierarchy of why Yoga Pops is taking so much of our... So I know all the good stuff.
I was going to say the other name I would think of is Lily Pops.
But then it'll be that one product. So,
but then that's the name of this product.
Exactly.
So you want Route to India to be the main brand.
It's the hierarchy, because it's the umbrella, and then you have water lily seeds as the product.
So then would you make your Instagram that then?
That I haven't gotten to, because we still haven't, this is still under wraps. We haven't changed our packaging. I still have to, that's where you come in, because I was okay, how do we even bring it? Because their work is around packaging. They're not going to do the social piece of it, but I need it all
It has to be cohesive. And I think it really depends, like, on how many products that you want to develop, because then I think that impacts what the names are. And I think, so if it was Lily Pops, if that's just the water seed products, and then if there's a different type of product, you could call it something. I like the word pops. I think it's a great word. And so you could have different pops. So you could almost have like Lily Pops, Yoga Pop, like, again, depending on what it is, and that could be the tying factor.
Well, Ayurveda does everything in food. So I'd say one other brand that really is an inspiration for us is like Siete. Siete does these Mexican cuisine based snacks.
Okay.
Not just snacks, they do tortillas,
Okay.
they do all kinds. And the same for our brand. We really want to make, think of Indian food and you think of curry and you think of heavy cream and butter and just a plethora of spices, which is not the case at all. So we want to bring the flavors of India, but in a more healthful, mindful way.
I like flavors of India.
Flavors of India.
I mean, that sounds like, when you said that, I was like, that could be like a tagline.
Right.
Or something, because it's like, I think the one thing that you might want to think about is, I will say Route to India is a very long name.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe coming up with an Indian word that represents all this, that's not one that is currently a food name. Like we as English Americans might not know what that means, but it's a good word. I would brainstorm some words that you could think of that's one word. Like you just said siete.
Exactly.
That's one word.
Exactly.
And that's in Spanish. So it's like you could have something that has meaning to you that would be one word that would be memorable, but then also like you could put snack at the end of it, because again, if this is your goal to build a snack brand, you're gonna people might not know what that is.
And that's not necessarily soap just now, because this being our first product, this is in the
you don't want to just have snacks.
No, we want to do everything in food. We want to bring all the goodness of what Indian food has into a more just a healthful way. So for example, even if you look at tortillas, what they Siete used was cassava. In our case, we use millets, and we use you'll never find it in a restaurant. And you know how healthy it is when you eat at home. Like I eat all kinds of food, whether it's Mexican, Italian, but every third day I'll crave my spices. I'll crave the flavors, but I want it not from a restaurant, because I know they'll never be able to reproduce that. So how can I and so I'll sit down and make my tortillas, which is a lot of work. So we want to make it easy without preservatives, really good ingredients. I think that's what we are focusing on. And so therefore that inspiration from what they're doing, but pretty much everything that a mainstream American can enjoy. And I think that's difficult, because do they know what's there?
I think they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And I think that is what your goal should be with your marketing, is introducing different Indian terms, different foods that we like. Water lily seeds, I wouldn't know what that is, so it's like, I think for you having the social media every other day or every 3 days, putting out a graphic with like an Indian word and then translating it or something, so
should I make notes, or will I?
We're recording, so you can listen to it back.
Okay.
I'll send you the full audio.
Thank you.
But basically, like,
I love that.
In my head, I'm like, I really think that, people love Indian food, but they don't know much about it, or they don't know. Some people are scared of it because they don't like spice, right? And so you're saying like there's a lot of other options. So I mean, I don't know why, but like Hidden India or something, that is another one that I thought of. Like,
Hidden India,
like, because it's like the stuff that's hidden that we don't see. Like, I don't know if that could be something, but I just that came to my head, like Hidden India.
I have to think of the right word for
it,
but like, India,
or like whatever the word hidden is in India. You could put it, because I think it's almost like you're trying to bring us stuff that isn't like the stuff that we usually see. It's the stuff that's more
home cooked.
Like, like it's the stuff that like you grew up with that maybe hasn't hit America yet, kind of a thing, where like curry is like very like normalized, but there's a lot of other things like water lily seeds that you haven't introduced to America. So maybe something along those lines of like, this is what the true Indian like meals are. So something like Hidden India, or something where it's something secret,
something that hasn't been revealed yet.
But I think like whatever that word is in Indian, like could be could potentially be a good name, because then, but you have to make sure it's easy to write, easy to say out loud, because one of the things I've learned as a marketer is people like to the best way to grow is for someone to have a tagline that somebody else can share. So when someone's like, oh, like I'm having a party, I want some snacks, what are you liking lately? You have the story of, oh my gosh, I just got yoga pops or whatever it is, snacks, and then like this, and they're from India, and this is like all the things that they do. So allowing people to be able to recite and repeat your messaging is one of the most important parts of marketing that we don't talk about, because word of mouth is the highest and best form of marketing. But if you're confusing to your audience, they are not going to repeat it. They might like your product. They're probably not going to talk about it because they don't understand it.
Agree, 100%.
So I think this is something I've learned. There's a great book, and I'll tell my audience, called Microscripts.
Okay.
Where it talks about like how you can summarize your entire brand in a sentence.
In a word or a
like,
sentence.
And like under I think it's under 6 words. I just read it. It's on Amazon Kindle Unlimited. I just read it like a couple months ago, and it really like made me think about my own like tagline, or because people I've been with people where there's a girl or a guy who knows my brand, and they're trying to explain it to their friend who's with them. They literally are trying to tell their friend, they're trying to introduce me for me. And so seeing how people explain my brand to their friend is a very interesting experience. And I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you're with someone who knows about your brand and they're trying to explain it to the person
all
next
the
to
time.
them. So what do people say?
You know, it's so people who are open to cultures will talk about it exactly like that. This company does really Indian snacks, but they're delicious and they're good for you. And you know, I've been having it for 6 months now, and I have seen the difference. So you know,
I like the idea of like healing. Like healing, because that's what you are all about.
Absolutely.
So maybe something to do with healing your body or something, and like that energy, because it's a snack. Like you know, there's such a thing as energy. I think you even have it on yours, high
all
energy
the time.
snacks.
Yep.
So maybe a word around energy. Because you think of like energy bars, that's like a thing. So if this provides energy, people need energy, they need healing. Maybe you focus on the life force of energy, and that's what your brand is, and that whatever that word is.
Like even if it was like, if we all know what chi is, but it's such a three-letter word, and it just speaks to you.
I mean, you could call it. I mean, I don't know what the trademark's on that, but something around that line, like because I think it's again, and that's the other thing too, is people have heard of that, so it's a recognizable name as well. So maybe think of something in the yogi experience.
It's called prana. And it's way taken, as you can imagine. It's like chakras, you know, people want to talk about. So prana is prana foods. I think is already taken. All, you know,
so something like that. That's a great name. I feel like when you said that, I was like, I've heard that name before. So so something like that.
Exactly.
Maybe something that's a little bit like, it sounds like that, or it's
more food related.
Yeah, but food related, but also like is easy to spell, easy to say. One thing, and I would also recommend to people is, have you used AI yet, like ChatGPT?
I have, but again, you know, I think the beauty of what AI does is that it'll never take over human. It's like you need to know what to ask it.
But but saying all the things we just said today, and asking ChatGPT, so because I think it probably doesn't have Indian words in there, so it doesn't.
It does actually. You know, like it was funny. Simple. There's a festival where we try. You know how you have the friendship band. We have a brother band. So you it's called Rakhi. So I said, say something funny about Rakhi, and it said, Rakhi is a auspicious occasion that needs to be respected, and you can't make fun of it, which was so hilarious because AI figured out that you can't make fun. It can't be funny. But the next day when I said the same thing, by then there was enough material that it could be funny about it.
What about Rocky as a name?
Friendship as
I mean, it's a good name. I just, when you said like almost like Rocky, like in American it's like Rocky, but I don't know. Just again,
I like what you're saying. Just keep it that simple.
Yeah, but I think I think that's the thing is like Yoga Pops almost sounds like an American brand. That's the thing, is I want it to sound more Indian, because yoga has become so Americanized. And I think Pops is also Americanized. Right. So if you can bring it back to the Indian and make it clear that this is an Indian-based company, and that like you're right, the people that are open to trying things from India are going to be the ones that are attracted to your brand, versus the Americans that are not.
And what do you feel about the fact that you're changing your name completely, and how do you rebrand yourself? And
I've rebranded a lot, and it's if you're the core, do you think you're the face of the brand?
I am.
People will follow you. So I think you need to be consistent in the way that you're showing up, and then people will, like, do you remember Evereve, you know, the brand? So they're like a local clothing brand.
Okay.
They used to be called Hot Mama.
Yes, okay. I
And
can imagine.
that's a huge rebrand from Hot Mama to Ever Eve.
Yeah.
And they had been in business for like 10 years.
Okay.
But they, I think they realized they're like, we don't want to just cater to moms. That
Right.
was the issue. But they, now they're even growing faster once they've rebranded. I know a lot of people that have had successful rebrands. It's just, keeping consistent with your messaging.
Yeah.
People will slowly over time adjust to the new name.
Got it.
And probably
Yeah.
faster than you'd think, especially if they already like the product and especially if it's a good name.
And also, I think we're still at a stage where, I mean, if you look at our Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
we could, I think, so we were part of the Target Accelerator as well.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest thing we faced was, do we have enough social media? Do we have the
Of
presence?
followers, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's say a brand like Om Sam or brands that are much younger who are really taking social media by storm. They are in Target already, even though they
Yeah.
started much after
Yeah.
us. It's how strong your messaging is, and to your point,
Yeah.
if we have to change, it should be around now.
I
So
think
I
you
think the
should.
timing
I
is
think
right
the
for
earlier the
us.
better for rebranding. If you are like, you're right. If you haven't blown up, if you're not like super established and everyone knows Cheetos. Cheetos is not going to change their name. There's certain brands.
So
that
we're compared to Cheetos.
Really?
That is the funny thing.
Okay.
And we are the no Cheetos of Cheetos. Like
Oh.
we want to be. Cheetos is that snack that that
Yeah.
crunch that Americans love, and they're making it
Yeah.
hotter and spicier, and Americans
flamin' hot,
love,
yeah.
Americans love it spiced, but it has to be relatable. And you didn't grow up with yoga. What is yoga pops? And then you didn't know what growing up
Yeah.
what water lily seeds is.
That's
I
true.
grew up eating this, so I can relate to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's something there that you're saying that really resonates.
Yeah, I think really like it's all about introducing something that could potentially be a household name, and I think you have to really be solid in the choice. So I would workshop it with many people. I would give yourself 3 or 4 different options for a name before you decide, because this is going to impact everything. To me, the name. There's a great book on naming. There's a great book called, I think it's called Hello, My Name is Awesome.
Okay.
And it's about naming.
How fun.
I'll send you the link, but
Okay.
it's a great book on naming, and it's like naming your brand, because it's all about being catchy and memorable. There's all of these different things that you should hit when you're naming something, not just your brand but also the products. Each product should have a good name. So for me, I like ChatGPT because for example, my podcast, it's called the Optimization Toolbox, and what I spent an hour going on ChatGPT, giving it this is what it's about. It would give me 30 names. I'm like, I don't really like it. And I spent an hour doing that back and
And
forth.
what did you ask?
I mean, I could go back, but it's I was like, I really want to have a podcast that's about marketing and health. And I was listing off all these things, and it would give me different ideas, but I was like, oh, that's not quite it. So it's just I knew when I saw it, and I love the 2 words together. I knew it had to be short. So sometimes it would give me a 5-word thing, and I'm like, no, it has to be short. It has to be memorable. So I kept telling it, make it shorter, make it, So I was telling ChatGPT what I needed, based off of it, because you can always go back and edit. So it's almost like it's like you're figuring out what you don't like, which is also a skill to be okay, this is not what I want.
I know this whole negative. I'm like, okay, so I shouldn't say yoga pops. That's negative marketing. It's if somebody already knows the word, then they're not looking for it.
But they're also thinking it's when I first saw yoga pops, I was like, is this a yoga mat brand? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So
when you
it's all
search
about,
it
yes.
in Amazon, it'll take you to all the yoga props.
Exactly.
Because yoga pops becomes yoga props.
Oh, yeah, that's an issue. Because that's the other thing too is you want to have a name that stands out, and those are 2 words that already exist,
right?
Yoga and pops.
Yeah.
And I think your SEO is going to be really, really, really hard to get anything to the top because of the word yoga. It is such a highly searched word that even though you probably, if you search yoga pops on Google, yours probably will come up. It's I do think that it is going to be an uphill battle in the long term. So I think what we've decided is we're gonna rename it, but I think figuring out kind of some of the ideas are going with an Indian word maybe, or going with something around either energy or hidden or taste or food or something to do with it, because you want to have it be the larger brand name.
I love it.
Because I think Route to India, I think you could still use that for your cooking classes, and that's why I was thinking your website needs to kind of split in two. Have the products on one website and have your services on the other.
You think,
because right now it's intertwined and it's confusing, because I'm like, oh, so there's products and then there's cooking classes. They're just very different to
So
me.
true. And I think over this journey of having a CPG product and the amount of time it takes, I've almost veered away from my cooking classes, except I have videos. And frankly, the videos work so you can take a class online and I don't have to be involved. It's almost like writing a book, and it does its own thing.
Income.
Yeah, and it's quite lovely.
But I think that's kind of how I do it too. I have my events and stuff at Twin Cities Collective, but then I like sell courses and stuff on my own website. So it's like I can do both and have them be separate. So it's like I have separate websites for everything, because it's like people are coming for one thing and they're finding a bunch of other stuff, and they're like, this is like, if I was wanting to buy these, I don't need cooking classes too. Like it's too different.
Instead, you could have a blog if you really wanted to talk
about your like video and like all this stuff we can do when it comes to marketing for like, what do you feel you are capable of when it comes to your own marketing? Because I know you need to hire it out, but right now it's just you. What do you feel like you need help with the most?
Just showing up on front of a video. I think, when I'm talking to you or I'm talking to a friend, it's different than to be able to do it myself. I think there's that aspect of being able to come on camera and be my natural self. I think that's a big challenge for me. But it's not that I've not done it. So it's, I've had enough opportunities. It's more of making the commitment to do it and show up. Just be able to do that.
So are you doing stories? What are you doing for video right now on Instagram specifically?
It would be stories which does not have me on camera.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel I'm not ready for it. And I feel, everybody who does it is so with it, and they just...
I disagree.
I know. There's this whole debate around that. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not... I think it's consistency of being able to show up, and how much the time investment for me is even more critical. Like I cannot sit there and edit, or I cannot sit there and redo it. Okay. I have maybe 15 to 20 minutes that I need to use productively towards this. And if I could, I would, but I've not been able to do it.
So this is my recommendation. I would just document what you're doing. You can show, let's say you're packaging stuff, show it. If you're going to a store for a meeting, say, hey, I'm so excited to have this meeting with Meyer today. Okay. Walk in. Like, just show that you're being active in your business. Yeah. And showing, like, just people like to see this, they call it, like, how the sausage is made. Right? You like to go, like, if you're watching, so just seeing the stuff that people do every day. I'm the kind of person who will post 8 to 10 times a day on stories. And I'm just doing random stuff. Right. Like, I don't have a plan in my head in the morning. I'm just like, oh, like last night I was decorating my tree and I'm like, oh, like my grandma died a month ago. I'm going to show you her ornaments. Like, I was like, that's kind of a cool story.
That is a story.
Yeah, but then I put that on my story. So it's like, like I didn't think of that at the beginning of the day. So I think a lot for stories specifically, stories is different than your main feed because it's the connection. The people that are watching your stories are only people that follow you. So they're already invested. They obviously, if they stop caring, they'll unfollow you. But it's like, I don't think I've ever unfollowed someone because I didn't like their stories, right? Like, I just won't watch their stories, but I'm not going to unfollow them. But I think...
But even if they did, I mean, then they don't need to be...
Yeah, they're not your target audience. And it's like, I think people... This is another tip. People are afraid that they're going to lose followers. I'm like, they're not the right followers to begin with.
Exactly. That I'm clear.
And I think you will bring in more people by being yourself and showing the work it takes to be an entrepreneur behind the scenes than not posting anything. Because I think people don't know. They're not seeing what's actually happening. And I think that you're going to be able to build a personal brand within your brand. Because if you're the face of the brand... You're doing all the work. Yeah. People want to see you, and they also, I think, getting something like this. Let me show this. So this is one of the best investments I've gotten.
That does look solid. Yeah.
So it's $100.
Yep.
you can set this down. You put your phone in it.
Love it.
I have to take my.
That's an investment I'm doing right away.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
The Cyber Monday
is
still
you
on.
can walk with this as like a. You can use it as. Let me show you, and I'll show everyone. So you can walk like this, and it automatically stabilizes it.
Wow.
But it also works where it'll follow you around. So if you're making food or something, I think you should do more cooking videos because that's what you teach.
That's what my heart is in. Yeah.
You could do a live stream where you go live and all you're doing is cooking.
So we mentor another founder that's part of the Target program. So part of what we do for Target is that they keep you connected, and so they sent me their product, and I just took one of our packages, put it in, and said, look, they make sauces. We make this snack and have it as that sauce that is tangy, delicious. I've never had, so I'm like, how did they do it? My post that I posted for them, and they have 1,000 likes.
I think I saw that when I was looking at your feed. Was that one of your most recent videos?
Yeah. I mean, and it takes. Yeah. It took me forever to edit it, and I said, forget it. I'm not even going to try. Here's the video, guys. Yeah. You do it. And they did, and they... Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of their... Even though they're much smaller, they started maybe a couple of years after us. Yeah. And they're also from India, but the whole collaboration was so lovely that you could use our snack and their sauce to make something simple.
That's what I had written in my notes, was doing more collaborations with different brands. Yep. So whether it's people that teach yoga, people that have Indian restaurants in town. One of the things you could do, this is something I would recommend, go to all the Indian restaurants and review them.
Okay.
And
what's the advantage? I mean, because I actually would nix all of them because of the kind of food.
But that's what I'm saying is like you could say like, this is what I would change.
You're right.
And then it's a way for you to, you could interview the owners and talk about their journey. That way you're giving them, so this is what I've been doing all summer, is I've been interviewing people where it goes on both of our accounts. Sure. It's getting them exposure, getting me exposure to their audience. You're collaborating and you're making friends. They might be able to tell their people at their restaurant about your products because you know them.
We've actually had the most luck doing that. Not just with Indian brands, but think of non-alcohol, just NA beverages. The other highest post we had was with an NA beverage that just everybody was, how can I get both the snack and the drink?
I have a really good event for you to go to.
Okay.
It's this Sunday.
All right.
It's called Sauna and Sobriety.
Oh.
It's a sauna event.
Yeah.
But they're having like non-alcoholic beverages there, so it's people that don't drink.
Yeah,
so
and especially if you're going for sauna, you don't want to have alcohol in your system, and then you get hungry and you want some snack that's just
You should reach out to them. I have the connection. And you could maybe do a pop-up there and give out samples because I think that they are all about being healthy.
And they're our tribe. I mean, they're the ones who do yoga. People who want to loosen their muscles and then get into some exercise form and be healthy.
I think that there's a lot of collaborations potential. Like I was thinking about going to like yoga events or I forget. I wrote it down, but basically like having maybe even local food bloggers using your products or having just different people where you do a shared post.
Yes.
People in the health food industry or in the health industry, like you kind of want to go target those people because that's who this is for, is people that like food and people that want to be healthy. That's kind of your two target audience. And then people that also like Indian food or they want to support
who like adventure, who like hiking, biking, fitness, and so want a light snack to carry because this is so light.
Yeah, I mean, even doing images, like posting stock photos of that kind of stuff on your feed is the easiest thing to do. And you could have it be almost like a slideshow of like, that's something that like you're trying to attract that audience. So having content that is targeted, so again, like it's all about figuring out what gives you the most return on your investment, right? For time.
That I think is I'm still like, you've given me so many amazing ideas. Okay, where's the time to do this? And I think, like you said, if I was just to document even what we are doing.
I think that would really help. And that doesn't take any extra time at all. And I think being used to be on camera is not something that happens overnight. I tell people this all the time. If you look back at my YouTube videos from 2014, I was so bad on camera.
2014, wow.
I've been doing it for almost, well, I've had a YouTube channel since 2006, but I wasn't on camera. I was, like you, I was behind the camera. But it was in 2014, I was 22, and I was like, I really want to just be a YouTuber. I really wanted that. And so what I did was I just put myself on camera, and I look back at those videos, I wasn't very good. But practice.
You put yourself out there,
and you learn, you just get used to it. Now I have this is me, I just don't have a lot of self-consciousness about being on video, but it is something that all the other people I've talked to have learned. Because you have to,
the more you do anything, you practice and you get better at it.
And I've done 200 podcast episodes. It's like I've learned how to talk to people. Like that wasn't something I was good at when I first started. And now I feel
the practice.
It's practice, and I think that's what any business owner, and again, this is advice, any business owner needs to be comfortable on camera, because you are the face of your business, and it's not going to go away. If you look at big CEOs like Angie from Angie Pops, she was on How I Built This. I don't know if you've
I did hear it, and how
but she had to. That's a huge podcast with millions of listeners, so she had to be comfortable. I think I don't know if it was live, but I just feel like she was in front of like a crowd or something. It's like being able to talk about your brand on camera is a skill that you have to learn. And the only way you can learn is by doing it and practicing, and that's what you're doing with stories. That's what you're doing. I really think that you could come up with a series, and this is one thing I've learned, and again, advice, come up with a series name. Whether it's a cooking series, whether it's a thing where you highlight other businesses, maybe some of the other people in town that you've met, you could do a video about them, because what they're going to do, they're going to share that to their stories. They're going to share that to their stuff. When you talk about other companies, they will reciprocate. That's what I've learned this summer. I mean, I've done that as well. Again, little bits, we were in a trade show together, or, we at the Forage North or Grow North, which is now called Naturally Minnesota. We met this sauce company, and we were just next to each other, and and then next thing I knew, I was dipping their sauce with my pups, and it was just, and we mutually just liked hanging out, and so that video was good too. But again, I just put it in. Actually, I just did a story. I didn't do a post. Did you tag them?
I of course did.
And they reposted it?
Yes, they did.
Did you think that helped you?
In terms of story, you don't know, right? Or you do know, but you don't. Insight.
From the story, or they look. You can see on analytics if people like go to your profile from that.
Right.
I guess they would have to see that on their end. But I think the other thing about marketing is like, it's going to take a lot of touch points. Like just because they see you one time doesn't mean they're going to buy right away. They're going to be like, oh, like I've been hearing that name around. Like, I think I'm the kind of person where it's like, I pay attention to this probably more than the average person, because I know all the local people. But like when I start hearing a name a lot, I'm like, oh, they're doing something. They're being active. Like example, Isadora Nut Co. I don't know if you know. I kept hearing that name for years, and like it was in bundles I would get. I just kept seeing that name. So now when I think of nuts, that's like the first name I think of, because of the amount of touch points.
What do you mean by bundles?
Oh, so like there's I don't know if they still do it, but there was a company that had like a snack box. It was like that where it was like a gift box I got at an event where they were giving out like samples or something, and they gifted everyone this box that again, I don't know if it's still in existence. I know the girl who did it, but yeah, like a gift box, like a corporate gift box, and it was in there or something, or like, because what happens is a lot of the times these small snack brands will kind of go in with other snack brands, and they'll become kind of like a group of friends, and then they'll constantly refer each other. And so then usually you get them all together. Like I've definitely seen Isadora with a lot of the same brands.
I see.
And so there's stuff like that where it's like you can like grow faster by having people alongside of you. Do you have anyone like that? I
mean, I know Tasha quite well, and I found it really interesting that not everybody, there's also that sense of competition. So unless you have this sense of connection and not competition, then you feel that reciprocity happens. Sometimes that, in fact, I've referred her to spas because I feel we can both exist in the same space. But it's not always the case.
Interesting.
But more importantly, to your point, I think it's the level of getting out there, which in many cases is over the top for me. You know, I
What do you
think
mean?
like I cannot put myself out so much. Like I don't
Okay.
have, I would rather focus on getting what you just said than doing singular events.
Gotcha.
And because you know, as a small business, we're expending our
Yeah,
energy
that's true.
so much
Yeah.
that this is where self-care can be questioned. And
Yeah.
I know, because for me, my priority is, have I done my because
Yeah.
if I don't have energy, how can I give you
That's
energy?
content too.
Right?
Meditation,
Yeah.
your daily practices,
Yeah.
talking about self-care.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
again, like
Yeah.
people care more
They
about
can
how they
relate
can
to.
connect it, and then you can connect it back to being healthy.
Yeah.
I think that I think what we should do for you is come up with a list of things that you do on a daily basis that you could maybe even like, okay, every Monday I'm going to talk about mindfulness.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday I'm going to talk about behind the scenes of the
So
business.
plan your
having,
calendar.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
having like a theme
Right.
or a daily, like for me, like every Monday I do my marketing.
Okay.
I call it Marketing Monday.
Okay.
And so I only do my marketing on Monday for the week.
Oh, wow.
So that way it's like I'm done.
Right. So whether it would be putting out an ad
So
or
usually
Google.
it's my either
What's
my
marketing
podcast,
for you? Yeah.
my YouTube my YouTube video, or for example the Chats and Chai. My
Okay.
email list.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll film like reels or TikToks. So like the short form videos
Yeah.
and have those ready to go for the week.
Uh-huh.
So it just depends. Sometimes I will film like randomly because to me reels are like easy to make.
Okay.
The ones that take a long time are the Chats and Chai, my YouTube videos,
Sure.
and a podcast. Like
Yes.
those are and then they all come out on Tuesday.
Okay.
So it's like I also have a publish day.
Mm-hmm.
But then like throughout the week I also do social media. Like I'm probably not the best at like planning ahead for myself. Like I tell people, oh, you should have a content calendar. But then for myself, I'm like sometimes I'm very much like, I like to be inspired
Yeah.
to do something. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like if something triggers me,
Yeah.
I will be, because sometimes some of the best ideas come to you in a split second and you're like, I'm just going to do it. And
Yep.
then they do really well because
Sure.
you just know
You
it's
went
a good
with
idea.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
you went with it. Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't work.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything. One of the biggest tips I have to say about social media is everything is trial and error. You have no idea how something's going to hit until it posts. So don't be afraid to post it because it might be bad. But for every 9 bad posts, there's one good one.
True.
Right?
Very true.
It's all, this is one of my favorite quotes. Life is a numbers game. The more you put out, the more likely something's going to hit. So if you try 100 things, one is going to hit really well. So you just have to try more things. And I think for you, it's like, I think you have to, so there's another quote that I love. It's called make noise, listen for signal. So make noise means putting something out there and then listening for what is
echoes
resonating.
back.
Yes,
Yeah.
is there something that hit? So for example, that video that you put out with you cooking,
Yeah.
you made noise, which was you put out that video, and the signal is I think people want to see you making more food.
Or talk about marketing. Is it that they advertise? They put it out there. They boosted the
Maybe
post.
that might have been it too, but the fact that sometimes boosts don't work. So if the fact that it got that many views, and I saw a lot of comments too, that means that the content was good. Because I think that having you on camera, which I think, because if you scroll through your feed, you're not on here much.
Nope. As I mentioned.
But you're on the pin, which is good. But like, I think having you, this is one of the things I always tell people, have you every at least 5 posts. Because as they scroll down, they're not going to feel connected to this person who they don't know.
Right.
Maybe you're in the video, but you're not in like
Yep.
the first 5 seconds.
Yep.
So I think having you
Yep.
in more videos is going to build that connection with your audience and not just an ad. It's your connection.
Can someone coach me on what to say, the communication?
Okay.
in
What do
front
you
of-
want to know? Like what?
All
like
of it. Like,
okay.
how do I even we had
Yeah.
we started our video today,
Yeah.
and could I have said it differently? Could I have said it better? And how do I know?
The biggest thing that you want to have is the hook, the
Yeah.
first 5 seconds.
Yep.
There are lists you can find online.
No,
of
we've done
hooks.
pitches, so I can have a really good pitch because we've been part of the Lunar Startup
Yeah.
program as
Yeah.
well. So we
Yeah.
have a 30-second pitch.
Okay.
We know that it's
This
good.
is different than a hook
a
is different
pitch.
than a pitch.
Okay.
A hook is what gets people to watch the video.
Interesting.
It's have you ever heard about blah, 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 blah? Like, it's getting someone interested in the video so that they won't scroll. So a hook is a 5-second question or just something that gets people's attention. So hooks their attention.
Right.
Then you can talk about whatever after that hook. But I think for you, it's like
5-second
So let's
hooks,
see what this one was.
Okay.
So let's just see what it says. Okay, so that's a hook. When you say that word, people either know what it is or they don't, and so they're interested. They're like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
So it's like, and the first thing that we saw was the cooking, right? We saw we were making something, and people that like food are like, "Ooh, something Indian! I want to watch this."
Okay.
So the first like 3 to 5 seconds are the most important part of the video. Because people will decide, and then also making sure there's context to the video. What is this about? You have to have that immediately. There's a really good video I'll send to you. It's this girl who's like a really good YouTube Shorts creator, but she makes this really, really long video. It's like an hour and a half, but it talks about short form video and just the importance of that stuff. But I think that having because it looks like did you just set this up on like a tripod or how did you a similar thing that I had
way less sophisticated than what you had. Really
but it was,
basic.
but I think doing this going live while you're cooking and then saving that video and using it later you get practice being on camera because on live you might have 5 people watching. You might not have that many people at first.
Jenna, you're so inspiring.
Did
you see I'm showing my pops and I'm like, okay.
See, this is what I would watch because people want to feel like you're like
I was shocked, 1,000 likes where I just was like exasperated by I created something that was 6 minutes long. And you had a reel takes 1.5 minutes or not even 1 minute?
Well, so you can make videos longer. They're called reels.
Right.
But if you upload a reel as a reel, it's 1.5 minutes. But if you upload it as a post, you can have, like, that's how my videos are 5 minutes.
Oh.
So you can have up to 10 minutes. Yeah. So you have to upload it as a post and not as a reel to have it be longer. Okay. But what you said when you first came in here is that you were an auntie. What about using that word?
I totally want to use it. Totally.
I think that would be part
because
of your brand.
We've been
like
around.
Auntie Anne's. Like there's names like that.
I love that. Masi. Masi means auntie.
Like that's perfect.
That's crazy.
I
love it.
You want to be the person.
Yes.
You're the Indian
I love
auntie
it,
that,
Jenna. There's something there. There's something there because I feel where I'm in my life. I mean, I've been teaching this for 20 years, and now Ayurveda is like the hot trend that yoga was.
Yes.
And I can't, again, as a BIPOC Indian, I do feel that, this is going to happen again. Just what happened to yoga will happen to Ayurveda. You'll just take from the culture and you will say like, and we've been around for more than a hot minute. We've been talking, I've been talking about it for 20 plus years, just from experience. And you, like you said, practice and knowing that this works for you means much more than taking from something. You have to live it, you have to soak in it, and then you want to share. And so I get what you're saying. And I've been thinking of this brand. So there's this I want to say it's a Jewish company that does crackers. Like it's more like a, what's the soup? Yeah, matzah soup.
Okay.
And they have this puckered up auntie. And it is, for me, that was it. I want to be that auntie.
I think I haven't seen you as energetic this entire session.
That's because you just
But that's what I'm saying. That to me shows that this is hitting really
like you could have a caricature of somebody who's you want that wise and
from your auntie that like because when you came in here and you guys I think this was before we started recording you were telling me how I could make my chai better.
I had to stop myself. Like, she has the video going.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I would love support because I'm not like a chai maker. Like, I just had to Google a recipe. So for you,
you're on to something.
Putting out content about how you could be called like your something auntie. Like it could be like your character. There's a woman on TikTok called That Midwestern Mom.
Yep.
That's her handle, and she has almost 1 million followers because she makes. You've probably
amazing.
seen her. But she has become this like motherly figure to people that makes these Minnesotan-based stuff.
Right.
I mean, she'd be a great person to collab with. But like, you know, so it's just like figuring out something for you to brand yourself as that auntie, coming up with a name, and then that could be part of the brand. I really think that could be really powerful.
Yeah, I like that. It needs a lot of thinking because Masi is like your mother, Ma is mother, and like your mother is Masi.
Yeah, interesting.
But Masi is...
It's an easy name to
remember. Yeah, I like that.
I think you could come up
with
with something. It's
like Siete equivalent of...
Yeah. I mean, I think it would need...
Something there.
It would need to,
some
like,
food
Masi
reference.
Snack.
Yeah.
Then I feel like people would know that it's a snack. And then...
Masi's food or Masi Khana.
Yeah, or Masi's Co or something. Yeah. Like, you could come up with something, but I just think the idea...
Cow Masi. Cow means eat.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Khao.
It just sounds like cow.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, the first, so just again,
see, that's where you like you said, you have to run it by focus groups
or just even just people as you're talking to them, say, hey, like what do you think of this name?
Because this has been in my mind for a while, you know, even as this whole idea of, you know, you're taking up something that's so new to you, but I've been doing this for all my life.
You have to have a second opinion of someone who doesn't know your market. And that's why I think marketing, consulting, and coaching is so powerful. Is I'm coming from it from a marketer's perspective of saying, I'm also a new person to this brand. I don't know it. You know it inside and out. You need a person to look at it not just from a new person's perspective, but also from
an outsider's perspective,
and from someone who's worked with a ton of different brands,
to
be like, okay,
has the expertise.
And I think that is something that I've done over the years. Is I've just worked with so many companies, I can see what's working, what's not. Right. And I think just also gut, your gut like feeling is something that we shouldn't like ignore.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's something that you can feel the energy of it.
So you just said something completely Ayurvedic. So if the fire in your belly is timid or over, then that's when the energy is not balanced. So it's just like a pan of, you have hot water in a pan, and if you have it on a very high heat, the water is just going to boil and then dry out. Or you have it at an even keel where it's doing your stomach is in a good place. So your gut is everything.
Yes, I agree. I think we've kind of come to the point where I think you need to spend some time figuring out some ideas. Like, I think you should spend a couple of hours based off of what we've talked about today and really like come up with a new name. Yeah,
there's a ton to work with.
And I think we've kind of hit on like the themes of the things that you should talk about. I really think doing more cooking videos, using your own products in them, that's the easiest way to sell it. Is you're not being super salesy. You're just saying like, oh, like I would have this with, like people want to know what they eat this with. They can just eat it on their own, but I'm like,
no, I could throw it in pasta. Like instead of pasta, you can use it in a sauce, except that the dredges from the truffle will just make it more creamy and truffly, and so you use it in place of pasta, so it gives you the crunch, but it doesn't give you the carbs of pasta.
Okay. Yeah, see, like that,
or croutons.
Just saying that on a video in 15 to 30 seconds, powerful.
I know.
All right. I think what we should do, I just had this idea. Yeah. We should practice.
Okay.
Like making a video.
Sure.
Here. And I'll have you practice and like, do it on your phone because then you can use it. So I'll have you put it on here. So you just pop this in.
See, my horrible thing the one I have has already cracked my phone, so I need yours. Yeah. It's it makes more. It may be $100, but it's way better than cracking your phone.
So, so you're gonna go on Instagram. Okay. Let's just make a video, and you don't have to post it, but let's make it on Instagram, and I can film this part because I think that'd be interesting. So, let me move around here. So when you go on Instagram stories, one thing I recommend doing is having some filters. Okay. So it makes you feel better about yourself. Yeah. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll see my favorite one. So if you go to so I'll show you how that works. So if you go to my story, you'll see that I use a specific. Actually, I should.
Cool.
So you see how it says follow up here? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, why does it not work? There we go. You save that effect, and that is my, like, I guess it's...
And where'd you get it from?
I found it on somebody else's story. But you can, there's a filter, there's a story filter gallery. So if you go to create a story, and you scroll all the way over to the right, you can browse effects, and then there's tons of different,
what
like,
the heck?
appearance.
How come I didn't know this? Well,
So
see, this is the auntie factor.
Yes.
So come on. I'll teach you how to make chai. You do this.
So the one that I just bookmarked for you, that's my favorite. So now when you film yourself, you'll see that it gives you like watch. It'll give you like it might take a second to load. But it gives you like a appearance update. Yeah. I don't know why it's taking so long to load. I wonder if it's because we're not on Wi-Fi. Let's see if I can set the Wi-Fi. Gosh, I don't remember what the password is here. It's this one. Gosh, it's 39.
Well, so let's see, what can we post? How do you say cacio pepe? Do you say cacio pepe? Do you know what it is? Okay, let's do this instead.
I think this is what it is. That might not be right. My Wi-Fi password is downstairs. Okay. Oh, did that work? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, did that work? Oh yeah. Okay. So watch the difference. Okay. So look at yourself, and then look at that.
Oh my God! I look too dressed up.
So there's different ones that you can discover, but this.
You've not done as much makeup.
No,
so
exactly.
You look perfect.
Exactly.
And I look too overdone.
But so if you want, there's different ones. I'll send. Well, let's just go
thank
to.
You for sharing that.
But yeah, so that like again, like if you're having a bad makeup day, having like different filters that just make you look better, to me allows me to like this one's a good one. So then you can just bookmark them like this one. So for me, and then what you can do is you could film.
You're so sweet to share all of this.
So this is what you can do for.
You looking
just,
for an Indian lady?
No, I'm just like I'm just like for example, this one's cool. It makes it look like it's a Super 8 film. So like that's cool if you ever wanted to like do like a vlog or something. So you can just have different.
Got it.
So then what you can do is now they're all over here. So you can just swipe through them and pick one. So like this one's a good one. Yeah. But then what you do is you can do either hands-free. So this actually allows you to talk with your hands for up to a minute. What? So you don't have to press the button to record a story.
So the minute I do this?
Yep. So you can, let's hit record. Okay. And so what you're going to do is you're going to talk about what you just said to me about putting it in sauces and stuff. Yep. So I'm going to hit record and then you're going to just start talking. Go.
So given that it is soup season, we want things that are warm and comforting, but we also want that crunch. So we have croutons, but instead of croutons, let's use our pops. So this, just like croutons, but 0 carbs in comparison, way less carbs. This, which I can't open. Okay, cannot open. Okay, we will get rid of this.
No, start over. We can do the same thing, but it'll just be open, so you don't have to spend the time.
Exactly.
All right, let's discard and start over. I like that though. So let's start it, and then this way you can just pop it in. All right, ready and go.
Given that it is soup season, and we want things that are comforting, warm, but you also want crunch, right? So that's where Yoga Pops comes in. Instead of croutons, this is what you're going to use because not only is it crunchy, but it's coated with goodness. So you have. Can you get that? Get the crunch, get the warmth of the soup, have it together. It is the most delicious combination.
Perfect. That would be a great reel too.
No.
Yes.
I looked horrible.
No, I think you look great. And I brought it down a little bit because there was too much space.
White space, yeah.
I think this literally could be a reel. So what we're going to do is we can save it. So we'll download it. So we don't have to post it right away.
Right.
We can create a reel with it if you want. You can add music. You can add text on top. You could say you whatever the call to action.
You think it's good enough for a video?
I really do.
Was there a hook?
You have a good hook, which is that the thing about what you do this season, right? It's a seasonal thing.
Right.
I think that's a good hook. That's fine. It's, again, not every hook has to be like amazing, but I think that seeing your face, seeing the product, you should be doing more stuff like this. So I think you could, so one thing you can do on stories is you can add captions immediately. So I think we should post.
Can you tell about my business?
This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing.
Social media.
Well, once you learn it, you know how to do it, though. You know. So let's just do this. Okay. So let's make this so that we can So your brand colors are purple, right?
It is.
So let's make it purple.
Ooh. How? Where?
So you just go. You click. So let's do that. Let's just make this. We don't have to make this.
So where did you get the captions?
You go up here, you click the smiley face, and then just click captions, and then it will automatically. You can make sure that they're correct. But do you have a link to your website? What's the link where people can buy it? Like, is it what's?
It's on my.
So what we can do is we can add a link.
Can do shopping, or you. Can
do you have the product? Okay, so let's go to products. Which one is this?
Tandoori masala. We hope that.
Oh, sorry. Let's do shop. Oh, well, I guess we could just click view shop.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure that that's correct, but we can.
How quickly do you do this?
Yeah. So then we can move it down here. So let's make sure this is up here. And then I think what we should do.
And you'd keep the lettering so big.
People need to read it. Right? Get it in the soup season, and we like this is like interesting, comforting, but you also want crunch, right? So that's where Yoga Pops comes in. Instead, so it's like, like this is perfect. I'm gonna post it.
Okay.
Right? I think that's great.
You're amazing.
You just have to get used to it, because again, it's a story. It'll go away in 24 hours. You can always save it.
It's too made up for me, but yeah.
It's up to you.
No, my face.
You can find the filter that works.
No, I love what you say. I mean, I keep saying, it's not as if I don't say it. I just don't say it often enough.
And I think that to me is the biggest lesson entrepreneurs have to learn is they have to talk about their stuff a lot, because people hear something 7 times before they understand what it is. And I was actually, so this is actually a really interesting story. So I was on Facebook, and one of these women who I learned marketing from, she's like, I posted 8 reels this week. How many have you seen? And people were commenting. Some were like, I didn't see any. Some were saying I saw 5. Some people were saying they saw 2. So even though she's putting out a ton of content, people are not always seeing it. So if you think that you are putting out too much, you're not putting out enough. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you assume that people see everything that you do, and they do not. And even if they do, that means they're a fan and they are wanting to see more.
But Jenna, this is where generationally we're different.
Yeah.
It's not as if I don't want to or have an issue with. As you can see, I want to be as natural and not, because it has to also sit with who I am. And I think there is an issue there because, and you're right. I mean, even when I teach meditation, I assume that you know something. I'm not saying enough for you to gauge the level of depth.
You're not going deep enough.
Yeah, there's so much depth, and I'm not conveying it, perhaps.
Do you think you could do that on social?
What?
Like convey the depth.
I wish I could. I mean, you said I did.
Longer. It could be longer. You could do a longer video where you go into something a little bit more in depth. I think that is a mindset. That's a limiting belief about yourself that you need to work on, because I think that saying it's a generational thing. I know people in their 80s that are on that are doing
that lady.
Yeah. So it's like I think that.
It's not just a generation. It's definitely not generally.
Yeah.
I think and that's why I bring up my meditation teaching, is that I've seen people who are like, you've got to do this. That's not me. What's me is I want to give you an experience, but I don't want to force it down your gullet.
But do you think that video you just made was a forcing?
It's a little too loud for me, just the way I'm looking and conveying that message, but that can easily be toned down.
Okay. But
if you don't even convey it, then it's not there's nothing to tone down.
But I think that it also is different than maybe how you usually are, so that also gets people's attention because it's being a little bit different than your normal energy. So varying that up,
Totally. I mean, public speaking is something I need to do probably.
Well, I think that, and it's something that I I've been speaking for a long time, but even I want to take classes on public speaking to get even better.
But you were saying in 2014 when you did it versus where you were.
Oh yeah,
now.
I would say, but it's self-learned. I wasn't taught how to speak. I just practiced. I would like professional support and professional
I think you're right,
knowledge.
and I have to do that.
And I think there's a couple of different resources. There's one that I've wanted to take for a long time. It's called Ultra Speaking. It's an online course.
Altered or
Ultra Speaking. They also have an online subscription. It's like $18 a month where you get to play games, and it helps you practice speaking and being come up with things quickly. I think for me, my biggest issue is I say and like a lot.
And I can pause and have a long pause for no reason. Yeah.
And that's why I like editing my content, because I can get rid of that versus on a live or something. You see it because it's live. I so appreciate
you being so frank and candid with me.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming. I guess I'm not sure what all will fit in this episode, but and you want me to try this?
Yeah. Well, you want to have sweet or savory? What's your... they're all yours, whatever.
Like you said once, like it tastes like a Cheeto, or is that...
It's not, that's the hot one.
Okay.
And I'm knowing
I was going to say, I don't do well with hot.
That's what I was saying. I didn't even bring it for you. So this is our...
I like chocolate. Okay.
Yes, you should try both of them. So this is the one we just talked about that could be a good, like, butternut squash.
Oh, okay. I'm going to try it on camera. Oh, that's good. It tastes like a meal. Like it doesn't taste like a snack. It tastes like a spiced like chicken or something, but like just the spice part.
Yeah, it's so funny that you said that, because it's the barbecue of Indian food.
That's what it's. It does taste like barbecue.
Means barbecue, and so it's got that.
That's really good.
Clay oven that we make our naans in. That's the smokiness.
I love naan. That's awesome. Okay, yeah.
But try that, and it's completely different.
Okay, it's like a dessert one almost.
It is, but it's just like minimized sugar, and so it's more dark. It's 70% dark.
Oh,
so it's barely sweet.
Interesting.
But it's got lavender notes, and so it's a great
that is really
just
good.
End of the day, have a couple.
I don't know if I've ever had a snack with lavender in it.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think these are all good.
Well, you've got.
Oh, you want me to try all of them?
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to open all your.
Yeah, no, these are all for you.
Probably snack on them. I'm sure my roommate will like these too. Let's see. Ooh.
This is our most popular flavor.
Okay, this one I could see being like addicting.
But this because
it's got the salt.
Also because you are fiery.
Oh.
And so it resonates, like some of us like it sweet, some of us like it savory, and within that also.
Yeah.
So this is, if you do the dosha quiz on my site and see, but my first response to you, I didn't ask you which snack would you like. I asked you, you're a fiery personality. And so you will like this flavor. And naturally you gravitate to it.
Well, one thing I did see that on your website, but it was kind of buried. You should have that be the first thing that people do, because then you can get their emails. Yeah. So I would move that up.
Yes, we're working on an email that you'll get each time you take the time.
I think you should do that, because I think that's a great lead magnet, and then they get on your email list for
But isn't that crazy that you can, based on who you are, you have a snack?
See, I think you should do a video on that. You could go up to people and talk to them and say, okay, based off of talking to you for 5 minutes, I think you would like this, and then have them try it. I think you can almost do like taste tests in public. Say, hey, walk up to people, have somebody else filming you, and say, hey, would you guys like to try the snack? And then give it to them,
and that's the basis of what Ayurveda is, that we are also unique, and that everything does not work for everybody. So not the same aspirin. It's why are you having a headache? Is it because of your stomach? Is it indigestion? Is your gut not healthy and therefore the headache? Or are you just going to suppress it with the ubiquitous?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.